Okay, well, we're very, very lucky to have a fantastic guest with us today. We've got Selwyn Primary, who's going to give some interviews. Andy here is going to help us with technical support. And yeah, I'm very pleased to invite Janice Thompson to speak to us about her story and her fantastic journey through her sport. Am I right in saying that you're a karateka, Janice? Is that how you pronounce it?
Karateka, yeah. Karateka is the name for a person who practices karate. Yeah, spot on.
Fantastic. So Janice is a world karate champion and a multi-European champion as well in karate. And she's going to give us a little bit of her background, her story, and I'm sure you've got fantastic questions, Selwyn, for us afterwards. So over to you, Janice.
Good morning, Selwyn Primary. Hello. No noise, very quiet, all very...
Can you hear us now, Janice?
Yes, I can. Brilliant, that's great. Good morning. Oh, that's much better. We like, people that do sport tend to like a lot of noise, and we like a lot of noise, so that's all good. So a little bit of background about me. I started karate when I was 16, and that's considered quite late for a lot of sports when you get into what's called elite sport. An elite sport, you may or may not know, is the sort of higher ranks of sport. So you go literally from grassroots, which is kind of what you would normally do when you're at school, and you know, you go through the ranks, performance and excellence and elite. So sport was always something that I did from a very young age. I did a lot of sport at school. I did athletics, netball, rounders, hockey, just about everything that was going. Definitely I played on the netball team, and I actually grew up in Essex and trained. I went to Woodbridge High School, which is in Woodford. I used to travel to school on the train, and competed for Essex in athletics, but I only literally trained I didn't actually train in athletics. I literally just used to turn up for the tournaments or for sports day and just do it then. So it was one of those things. I guess it was just in my genes, and always wanted to do everything. My main sport from age 9 was actually horse riding. That was my passion, and I moved to a house. So I grew up in a council flat, moved to a council house when I was 9 years old, and started horse riding. And back then, when I started horse riding, it's a long, long time ago, it literally cost 50 pence a lesson. That was for an hour lesson. So you can imagine that was a lot of money back in those days. And the house that we moved to had a 15-acre field at the back of it, and there were a lot of horses in there. So I met the man who had the horses, basically, and he literally just said I can go and ride the horses whenever I wanted to. And my job was then to help him out with the horses. I used to do the watering and help feed them and muck out. I don't know if anybody are into horses. And he gave me a horse to look after. And just to cut a very long story short, she was actually stolen from the field behind my back garden when I was 18. Only had her for a couple of years. And I just started karate at the time, and I was absolutely devastated that this horse was stolen. So that's what really threw me into karate and taking it a lot more seriously than I did. I've always been naturally very competitive. So I've always wanted to be the best at doing whatever it is I do. And I started karate, and the aim immediately is to go through the ranks, get your black belt. And competition karate, that is the fighting side, which is called kumite, was introduced in this country in 1982. So I was asked to go to selections for the first European Championships and the first World Championships, and I was selected. And my first European Championships were actually held in Crystal Palace, where I came fourth, and my first World Championships were held in Taiwan. And we flew out to Taiwan. I think it took about 26 hours on the flight. Absolutely amazing country. Then from there, after 2 weeks pre-training, we flew to Taipei, which is the capital of Taiwan, for the actual tournament, which was an unbelievable experience. And I got a bronze medal there. And the funny story from me getting my bronze medal was from the time I went up to the rostrum, stood there with the bronze medal around my neck, and got back to line up with my team, the medal had fallen off the ribbon. I was left with a ribbon around my neck and no medal. And I was told they couldn't replace it. So I never actually got that medal back. Which was a real shame. However, I went on competing European World Championships, always stayed in the top. I think I was always definitely always in the top 10. Now, funnily enough, didn't do so well at Europeans as I did at World tournaments. And then finally we had the World Games, and the World Games is what's sort of noted as the Olympics for non-Olympic sports. So there are lots and lots of sports that are not actually in the Olympics. And they go through a very rigorous testing by the Olympic Federation. And karate actually for the first time was due to be in the Olympics this year in Tokyo. So obviously that's been delayed, and we just wait to find out and see if that does actually take place next year. However, I competed in the World Games, and on the 27th of July in 1985, won the title, which was an amazing event. It was fantastic to do it on home soil, and it was all filmed actually by Channel 4. So it was televised as well, which was great. And my, at the time, boyfriend, now husband, won the world heavyweight title the following day. So yeah, it was a massive achievement, and, you know, absolutely fantastic to go through that whole experience. I did participate in another World Championships the year after that, which was in Australia. Had a terrible, terrible decision by a referee, and decided that I would literally just retire because I've been training 6 days a week, just, you know, at that elite level, which is really, really tough. And it was also in a sport actually that wasn't my main sport, because my main sport was horse riding. So yeah, it's just one of those really weird situations. And one of the other reasons that I wanted to become really proficient in karate, that I was actually attacked when I was 16 years old. I used to have a part-time job in the co-op in Barking, and I was taking a shortcut through some flats to my friend's house, and a man came up behind me and grabbed me around my neck and around my mouth. I managed to get out of that. I'd only been doing karate a few months at the time. Another great thing is to have a really loud voice, because I did make a hell of a noise. And there were two ladies about 100 yards in front who turned around, and obviously the guy who was attacking me just ran off. So, you know, thank goodness for that. And I wasn't harmed physically, but it just made me realize, you know, that we can be quite vulnerable out on the street, and it's really, really good to have something like a martial art or combat sport that you can practice, which will give you that self-confidence, to know that there is something that you can do if anything like that happens to you and you need to get out of a situation. So yeah, that's my story in karate. Obviously it was many years ago, and my husband and I now have 3 grown-up children who are all very sporty as well. My eldest son is 27. He's a professional boxer. My middle son got a tennis scholarship at Hampton University, which is Afro-Caribbean University in Virginia, and gained a degree and then a master's degree in business administration, and now has been working in finance. He did actually work in New York for a year, but with Trump's America, they would not renew his work permit. So he literally has come back home and is now, you know, looking to get another job over here. And then my daughter is a dancer, predominantly dancer. She sings as well, and she's in the Lion King UK tour. So I don't know if any of you managed to see the Lion King. It's absolutely fantastic musical. She was touring, was in Scotland when COVID hit, and then obviously is now out and literally waiting patiently to get back to work. So yeah, that's a very small sort of portion of my life story. So I would literally love to hear any questions that you might have for me.
Wow, Janice, unbelievable. Thank you so much. Yeah, whistle stop tour, because I'm sure that could have been a much longer description of your story, because I know, have achieved so much. So thank you for that. So I think Selwyn students have got some fantastic questions for you. And what we're going to do is ask the students to come up to camera.
My name's Aiden, and how do you warm up before like a match, when you're doing a match?
Okay, so before a match, we tend to do a full body warm up, and that would start with literally karate movement. So we would get in a karate stance, and you're moving forwards and backwards, side to side. We call it stance training. You're in a karate stance, and you're literally going through all the moves that you would. And we tend to use half techniques just to warm up. So instead of a full kick, you'd just be doing a knee raise. Instead of a full punch, you just move the arm out halfway. And we tend to do that for at least 2 minutes. After that, we would literally prepare with a full set of stretches. Obviously, stretching is vital in a combat sport, and obviously most sports. But obviously, when you're kicking as well, you've really got to warm up your legs very, very well. So hamstring stretches at the back of the legs, quadricep stretches, front of the legs, your calves. You've even got to warm up your feet. And then obviously the full body stretches, your arms, head, neck, everything comes into play in martial arts. So you've got to make sure that the body is fully well oiled. And then we'll literally go through more sort of combat work then. So we tend to work with the partner and go through the full techniques. And then we use, just going to move around a little bit here. So I'll show you, these are the karate pads that you wear on your hands. So if those of you, I heard some of you do karate, which is fantastic.
Aiden does karate, Janice. He's a blue.
Ah, brilliant. Well done. We'll keep on going. And then we use these focus pads. So your opponent or the person you're warming up with will hold the focus pads for you. And then we just go through a range of punches and kicks. So you're actually hitting a target then. So you've really got your focus. So yeah, we aim to use that. The other thing we can use, these are called paddles. So we use these as well. Obviously it's, again, it's targets. So they are really, really useful. So it's really good, especially when you're in competition. You should be absolutely boiling hot or, sweating. And then you know that you're ready to actually go into the competition arena.
My name's Amir, and what type of weapons do you use like weapons while doing karate?
Hi, Amir. I have never used weapons in the whole time of doing karate, actually. I did lots of kata training. So do you do karate as well, Amir?
Yeah.
I
use nunchucks.
Sorry?
I use nunchucks.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. No, I have never used them. Obviously, seen a lot of Bruce Lee, so seen him use them. That's obviously on an amazing level. But no, I never went to a karate school that did weapon training. My husband has done some weapon training, but I never did. It was literally kata and kumite. So kata, for the rest of the class, is a sequence of pre-arranged forms of movement, and you're actually going through different situations of blocks, strikes, punches, kicks, in sequence. It's amazing training, and the world level of competition in kata is absolutely phenomenal now. It's different to when I was competing. I did compete in kata as well, but only at national level, not at European or world level. People that were better than me at that. But it is fantastic training. It's purely, the whole of the martial arts actually is mind, body and spirit. And once you get all three working together, you literally can't beat it. It's an excellent form of training.
Hello, my name is Hussein, and I've got a question for you. What challenges did you come across in what you are at today now?
Well, lots of challenges actually, because when I started international competition, we were the first females to compete in karate, in kumite, in the fighting. Even at club level, I had some male counterparts. They were people that trained at the same club as me, but really took a dislike to me. because I trained so hard and worked so hard to get to the top of what I was doing. I think, I don't know if they felt threatened by that, but they seemed to think that I thought I was as good as them. And I can honestly say that actually I was. Even when you do a competing karate, when you train in karate, there's something called a ki. The ki is when you shout. And the louder you shout, the better it is. I mean, there are a couple of reasons that you do the ki. One is, as you shout, it tenses your stomach muscle. So if an opponent hits you, you can take, if this is if you don't get out of the way or you don't block or evade, your stomach muscles are tense and you can take it then. Your body's trained for that. The other thing is, when you can shout and you're really loud, it can scare your opponent, which is fantastic in competition because that's what you want. You don't want them to get the better of you. And I used to ki very loudly, and that was something they didn't like either. And it caused me a lot of problems. So things have changed an awful lot now, because obviously females have been competing for, gosh, where were we? 80, 90, 2000, sort of 40 years. Literally 40 years now, and things are completely different. So women are completely accepted. They will cost, you come across sexism a lot of the time. Also we've found ageism can come into it as well, but yeah, that was my main problem, actually. Other people just thinking, you know, that I thought I was better than them. But literally I can only suggest to all of you is to work as hard as you possibly can to be the best you can be. It's so important. If you don't put the work in, I always say, I do lots of personal training as well, and karate training with other people. And I always say to them, you only get out what you put in, meaning that if you work really hard, you're going to get the results. It's just like when you're doing your exams at school. When you work really hard and you study and you revise, practice, 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 and then you're going to get great results. If you don't bother, unless you are completely naturally gifted and you're an amazing person, you won't get those results. So hard work all the way, guys. This is obviously in your academic work and whatever pastimes it is to do.
Hi, my name's Hadia, and my question is, what type of clothing do you need to wear to for a professional?
Okay, I'm actually wearing my professional karate suit now, which is called a gi, which is spelled G-I. And it's literally, a lot of people take the mickey out of people that do karate, because they say we wear pajamas, same as Taekwondo. So it's literally a white suit, trousers, and a crossover top. I'm going to just sort of stand up and see if you can see. So I'm going to move, just let me know if you can see. So I don't know if you can see, I've got my black belt around my waist.
Yeah.
Just a bit further down, Janice. Fantastic.
Can you see that? Now, once you get to black belt, you tend to get embroidered. So that was my name. That was my maiden name, Argyle. On the other side, it's in Japanese. So that's my name in Japanese. And then you've got the trousers. Can you see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So that's what you actually wear to compete in. Please tell me if I'm back in focus now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, so that's what you wear for competition, and you train in the karate suit. You train in your gi as well. But nowadays, when you're training on your own, you can literally wear all sorts of training gear, literally whatever. So I tend to wear the training tights, and then often something over the top to keep the muscles really warm, and then t-shirts, sweatshirts, all that kind of you know, typical sportswear that everybody wears for literally whatever they do.
Hi, my name is Janan. And my question is, what kind of things have you regretted in your life so far?
What have I regretted in my life? Interesting. I'm not sure I regret anything. I'm really, that's a really good question. So I'm really having to think, what do I regret? It's funny, actually. I had a very good friend who I used to go horse riding with, and she always used to ask me to go abroad with her and go to different countries and try different things. Like she wanted me to go to grape picking in the south of France, really weird things. People do that kind of stuff when you're a bit older. And I always started karate. It was always something that come up. I've got a grading coming up. I've got a tournament coming up. I've got this coming up. I've got that coming up. But I can't actually say that there's anything that I've done in my life that I really regret. Right. Okay. Sorry. Just thought of something. I really loved languages, and I did French in secondary school, didn't do it in junior school. And I really enjoyed doing French. And it's something that I have never managed to take up and become proficient in. So that's something I'd still like to achieve. So I regret not having sort of pursued that more. But yeah, I guess that's quite minor, really, in the grand scheme of things.
Okay. Hello, my name is and what made you want to do karate? Because there's like different styles of fighting. So what made you want to do karate?
It actually started where my mum used to work, which was literally 20 minutes from where we lived. And because I had done so many different sports, she just came home and said they're starting karate it was actually in the canteen that they used to have their meals and everything from work. And she said they're starting a karate club in there. And she said, I just thought you might like to go, you know, it'd be a really good thing to do to learn, you know, self-defense, how to look after yourself. So I thought, yeah, let's give it a go and see what happens. And that was literally, if she hadn't come home, if that club hadn't started where she worked, I probably never would have done it. So it's one of those amazing things that, you know, you just fall into. I really believe that, you know, sometimes the things that set out for us in life, and I think that was one of those things. Destiny saw me take it up and yeah, achieve what I achieved, which is amazing. So yeah, great question.
Janice, we've got a question from Leah. If you could say one thing to your younger self, what would it be?
Never hold back. Go out and achieve everything that you can achieve. Don't let anybody ever tell you that you can't do anything. You can do anything that you want to if you have the will to do it. Just have to go find the positive people around you, people that will support you, and go and achieve whatever you set out to achieve. Never let anybody tell you you can't.
Wow, what a message. Thank you, Janice.
Thank you, Janice.
So, Pam, I know these lovely students have given up their maths lesson for this. Thank you, guys. Have we got time for us to look at some pictures, Pam? Is that possible?
We've literally got 2 more minutes, if that's okay. Yep.
So if we could pop up some pictures, if that's all right, Andrew. And Janice, if you could just give us a few comments to the pictures, let us know what they are.
So that would have been probably, actually, that was a picture from standing on the rostrum when I just won the World Games. So I don't know, can you see, does it look like there's any ribbon around my neck?
No.
Yeah, so probably the medal's just been cut out the shot. But yeah, that would have been the World Games in 1985 at Crystal Palace.
And how old were you, Janice, if you don't mind?
1985, I was 24. Okay, so this shot is me performing a Jodan Mawashigiri, which is a roundhouse kick to the head. And that was at the 1984 World Championships in Maastricht in Holland. I actually came fourth in that tournament. Should definitely have gone further than that. I think I fought back in the repechage, but yeah, still a good result. And that result kept me in the top 5 in the world, which saw me qualify for the World Games in 1985. That was the final of the World Games. And my opponent was Italian. Her surname was Gidotti. And I think I finished off with the same kick. I had, it was a triple technique that I used to use, which is front punch, reverse punch, which were the feints, and then follow up with the roundhouse kick. So it basically took your opponent's guard up to the face, then down to the stomach, leaving them open to the head and landing the kick at the side of her face.
Thank you. So you obviously had little signature moves, did you? That then you could kind of catch them out with, or they just couldn't do them.
That's right. Literally, yeah. You usually literally just have to, get your own techniques, your own combinations that just really work for you, the ones that are good for you. And then if people, some people kind of work you out and say, right, I know what that technique, I know that's coming, then you just kind of change it up a bit. But it's funny actually, because I did fight the same girl in a team event the following year and did exactly the same technique. And when I did it and I scored, she was like, oh God, because obviously that was my sort of final technique in the World Games final. So yeah, she was very upset that I called it with her again.
Have you had any named after you?
No.
Named. Have you put any of your names to it?
Yeah, that combination literally should be my combination. Jeff had the triple. I don't think they don't call it the Thompson triple, but yeah, no. No, they don't give names like they do in kind of gymnastics and that sort of thing. Yeah, that was the medal ceremony for the World Games in 1985 at Crystal Palace. I think, is that a blonde lady to the left?
No, they've all got dark hair. So the lady on the left,
so
I think complexion.
Yeah, that's Yvette Bryant. She's from Britain. So she was one of my teammates. Gisotti would have been in second place. That's the Italian girl. And then was there a blonde girl as well with Yvette?
Just the three of you.
Oh, there's just three of us. Oh, right, okay. That was Jeff the following day at the same tournament. So that was him lying literally on the tatami. The tatami is the squared matted area that you fight on. And he was about to go into his final bout in the World Games. So that was the World Games final for him, which was the following day. So he was under an awful lot of pressure there, because me being the girlfriend won the day before World Games, also World Games heavyweight karate champion. And then he was going for the men's world heavyweight title, which he did win. So it was all good. There are only 3 weight categories, or there were back then. There were only 3 weight categories for women, and my actual fighting weight was 10 stone 2. And it was literally heavyweight was over 60 kilos, which is only just over 9.5 stone. So it's really not very heavy. And in my first fight, in my first World Championships in Taiwan, was against a girl from Taiwan, and she was probably the same height as me. I'm 5'7", but twice as wide, and she just ran at me and punched me straight in the mouth.
Wow.
I still have that scar. That kind of that got me in gear, that's for sure. So it was literally, I mean, she got a warning for that anyway. You're supposed to have, in karate competition, it's contact to the body, but it's literally slap touch to the face, or anything like any kick. So you have to learn incredible control. It's just literally this. Anything too heavy, you're penalized for. Yeah, that's Luke. That's son number 2. So yeah, it's Luke, who was at the Hampton University in Virginia, and on a tennis scholarship. So he literally had a full scholarship, which was amazing, because they don't often give boys full scholarships. They give lots of girls full scholarships for tennis, but not boys, because I think it's such a popular sport to go into an American university. And he studied there for 5 years, got his master's, and then went to work on Wall Street, which was amazing.
So what got him into tennis? Did you encourage that? Was that something that was offered in school, or?
No, older brother did tennis first. So that's a son who's now a professional boxer. And basically what Jordan did, Luke followed. And so he literally got into it. And I think, had we known then what we knew when it was kind of Luke's turn to go on to further education, Jordan may have gone the same route, but we literally just didn't know enough about getting into American universities at the time. And Luke had a friend a year older than him in tennis, and he went through that whole process, and we learned an awful lot from him, which Luke just made his decision then, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to do it, and went for it. And amazing achievements. So that's Jordan. Jordan is now 27. He's been a professional boxer for, I think, 4 years. He's had 10 professional fights, 10 wins, 8 by knockout. So he's doing really well. He had a year out. He had to have surgery on his rotator cuff in his shoulder. Got well from that. Had a comeback fight, and then was preparing again for further fights. And then obviously we got hit with COVID. So he's been out of the ring for another year now and is desperate to get back in there. Should be hopefully a title fight coming up. It looks like there's a vacant European title. So he's looking to get back in the ring as soon as possible. He actually this year went to Vegas. He was a sparring partner for Tyson Fury's fight with Deontay Wilder, and has literally came back this weekend from another 2 weeks with Tyson Fury, but this time in Morecambe, where Tyson Fury lives. And so he was a sparring partner then for his next fight. But obviously, again, with COVID, we're not quite sure what the schedule is going to look like.
I think we've got another one coming up. I think this must be your daughter. Oh, wow. Look at that. Very, very beautiful. As a lioness.
Yeah. So she is in the Lion King UK tour. She plays Sarafina, and that is Nala's mum, if you know about the Lion King. So Nala is the baby female lioness, and she plays Sarafina. And there is a dance troupe of 6 girls and 6 guys, and it's a seriously tough role. So yeah, she's absolutely loves what she does and can't wait to get back on stage. She also she sings as well in the production. The whole group, all the dancers sing as well as dancing.
So just the last one from me. I just wanted to ask you, so you spoke about mind, body and spirit, if I'm correct. And mind, I think you've talked a little bit about in terms of being determined and, sort of dreaming high, focused, dreaming high, going for your ambitions. So body, obviously training, that kind of thing. And you talked about being a vegetarian. Spirit side?
Mind, body and spirit, I think they all work together. And karate, the martial arts, are very spiritual. You do work on your inner key, which is just kind of in the center. It's literally coming from your gut, and it's having everything working in sync. You can have an inner peace. The kata is absolutely brilliant for that. I mean, we always start all sort of karate sessions in a school in what's called Seiza, and that's a kneeling position, just knees apart, and you sit back on your feet, and that is the period of time that you spend at the beginning and the end of every session clearing your mind, getting into focus, just getting completely in tune with what you're about to do, or at the end of what you have done, a feeling of complete peace. So it's really literally getting everything in tune and completely relaxed and peaceful in yourself.
Thank you. And actually, I'm going to ask you one last one, because this is me being curious. So obviously you are coaching, you're sparring with your husband, who's a 5 times karate world champion, which is incredible, and he is going to go for the Tokyo Olympics at the age of 63. Am I right?
He will be 60. Yeah, he will be 63. Yeah, because he'll be 63 next February.
So I'm just curious as to how that works, Janice. You might be a heavyweight yourself, but how does that work?
That's a really good question. Most of the time I wear, first of all, I wear a bodysuit. I mean, it's not any great deal of protection, but it's a little bit of protection, because he wants to be able to land a punch, and I'm not going to be on the receiving end of him landing anything that is more than I want to cope with. So I do, the focus pads that I showed the kids before, I hold those, or the paddles. And literally it's a lot about movement. I always had really good technique, so I'm doing obviously the techniques that he needs, and we break up, we move away, we move in, and literally just work on those techniques. We also do something that we call 1-for-1s. So he will throw a technique like front punch, reverse punch, so it's going face to the and then to the stomach, and then I'll go and I'll do it as well, and obviously then I hit him back.
I think Jeff said that you're a smaller surface to hit. You know, it's harder to target. Is that right?
That's true. Yeah, that's true, because obviously he's heavyweight. He's 6'4", and that's been really handy. So Luke has been with us for the past week, and he's done a couple of sessions with Jeff, and that's great because he's 6'5". Although he's never sort of studied karate properly, it's just bits and pieces that he's picked up, and obviously in the genes again. And then Jordan comes down every now and then, and he'll train me. Jeff, and obviously being a professional boxer as well, that's really great because and he's 6'7", so. Yeah,
so
3 inches on his dad. Yeah.